guide is standing between me and a doorway and he's shaking his head. Not the gas crater, that one they let you photograph. This is just a building, a white marble government block like 100 others in this city, and the rule is simple: you put the camera down now. That's the first thing Turkmenistan teaches you. You are a guest on a very short leash. This is a country you are not allowed to simply visit. No buying a ticket, no showing up, no figuring it out when you land. By most estimates, only a few thousand foreign tourists make it in across an entire year, which makes it one of the least visited nations on the planet. And yet I'm about to show you a capital built almost entirely of white marble and gold, a pit of fire that has been burning in the desert for half a century, and canyons most people will never know exist. 2 weeks here. Remember that crater, because by the end of this you'll understand why it might not be there much longer, and whether any of this is worth the wall they put in front of you. Why does almost nobody go? It isn't danger, and it isn't that there's nothing to see. It's access. Turkmenistan runs one of the most controlled tourism systems in the world, and that's exactly why the few places you do reach feel untouched. Here's the felt problem. In most countries, a closed border is the obstacle. Here, the border is open, but the entire trip is gated by paperwork and a guide who rarely leaves your side. Get that part wrong and you don't get a bad trip. You get no trip because the visa simply never arrives. The reason to understand this now is that the country has spent the last few years cautiously signaling it wants more visitors, while the rules on the ground have barely loosened. So the gap between they say it's opening and what actually happens at the embassy is where travelers get burned. If you only take one thing from this video, it's this. In Turkmenistan, the planning is the trip. The desert and the marble are the reward for getting the bureaucracy exactly right. Break the wall down because this is the part that decides everything. There are 2 real ways in. The first is the tourist visa, and it does not work the way other countries do. You cannot apply on your own. You go through a state-registered tour operator who issues you a letter of invitation, the LOI, which the migration service has to approve before the embassy will even consider your visa. That approval commonly takes a few weeks and can quietly be refused with no reason given. And the catch most people miss: a tourist visa here effectively comes with a licensed guide attached for your entire stay. You are accompanied almost everywhere. The second way is the transit visa, usually 3 to 5 days, which does not need an invitation or a guide, but it requires a believable overland route, entering from one neighbor and exiting toward another, and it's issued at the consulate's discretion. As a rough planning figure, tour operator packages that include the LOI, the guide, the driver, and desert nights tend to land somewhere in the low to mid hundreds of dollars per day, not the backpacker rates next door. Rules and prices here shift without much notice, so treat every number as a starting point and confirm it close to your travel date. Then you arrive in Ashgabat, and nothing prepares you for it. After a major earthquake leveled the city in 1948, it was rebuilt, and then, over the last few decades, rebuilt again into something close to a monument. Almost the entire center is clad in white marble. There's a Guinness World Record for it, the highest concentration of white marble buildings on Earth, set back in 2013, and they've kept building since. Gold domes, mirror-clean fountains, flower beds with not a petal out of place, and almost no people. The boulevards are enormous and often empty. It is beautiful and deeply strange at the same time, like walking through an architect's model at full scale. But the marble comes with rules. You don't photograph government buildings, you don't photograph police or soldiers, and in some areas you don't photograph at all, and your guide will stop you before you make the mistake. Step inside those lines and Ashgabat is one of the most photogenic cities you'll ever stand in. Step over them and the trip can end early. You leave the marble behind and drive north into the Karakum, and the country changes completely. The road runs for hours through flat, empty desert until, after dark, you see a glow on the horizon that shouldn't be there. The Darvaza gas crater. Locals call it the door to hell. It's a wide pit of natural gas that has been burning continuously since the early 1970s, after a Soviet-era drilling operation collapsed and the gas was set alight to burn off. It never stopped. Standing on the rim at night with the heat on your face and nothing but black desert in every direction is one of the most genuinely otherworldly things you can do as a traveler. Most trips camp out here, in yurts or tents a safe distance back, and watch the fire all night. But here's the payoff to the question from the start. The government has talked openly about putting it out, citing wasted gas and the environment, and reports in recent years say the flames have noticeably dimmed. So this is one of those rare sites with an expiry date nobody can pin down. The crater that has burned for 50 years may not burn for 50 more. If you have the full 2 weeks, this is where Turkmenistan stops being a curiosity and starts being a genuine destination. West toward the Caspian, the Yangakala Canyon opens up, layered cliffs of pink, white, and red rock that look closer to the American Southwest than to anything you'd expect here, and you may well have them entirely to yourself. There's Ko Ata, an underground thermal lake inside a cave that you can actually swim in, warm and sulfurous and lit like a film set. In the far north sits Konye Urgench, a UNESCO World Heritage Site with centuries-old minarets and mausoleums from the old Silk Road. And just outside the capital, the ruins of ancient Nisa, another UNESCO site, once a fortress of the Parthian Empire. None of these have crowds because there's no one here to make crowds. That's the strange trade Turkmenistan offers. You give up freedom and convenience, and in return you get some of the emptiest world-class sites left on the planet. What does 2 weeks actually cost, and what does it actually feel like day to day? Because the guide system means you rarely book your own anything, the trip lands closer to a private tour than independent travel. Figure those low to mid hundreds of dollars a day once you add up the LOI, the guide, the driver, the 4x4, and the desert nights. There are smaller frictions too. The official exchange rate and the unofficial street rate for the manat can diverge sharply, which makes budgeting genuinely confusing. So carry clean US dollars and let your operator advise you rather than improvising at a counter. Hotels in Ashgabat are grand on the outside and can be hit or miss on the inside. Internet is heavily restricted, so download your maps and entertainment before you arrive. And emotionally, the honest part, some travelers find the constant supervision and the empty staged perfection exhausting after a week. Others find it the most fascinating place they've ever set foot in. It is not a relaxing holiday. It's an expedition into somewhere that simply does not operate like the rest of the world, and you should decide which of those two travelers you are before you spend $1. Should you go? Here's the honest framework. Go to Turkmenistan if what pulls you is the genuinely unlike anywhere else. The marble emptiness of Ashgabat, a fire crater in the dark, and canyons with no one in them. And if you can accept a guide at your side and a trip you don't fully control. Don't go if you want spontaneity, nightlife, cheap backpacking, or the freedom to wander and change plans on a whim, because you will spend 2 weeks frustrated by the leash. And whatever you decide, start the visa months ahead through a registered operator, confirm every rule close to your date because they change quietly, and treat the transit visa as the budget door if 2 weeks of guided touring isn't your style. The country nobody visits is restricted for reasons that have nothing to do with you, but for the few who go in with the right expectations, it remains one of the last truly strange places left to see. Next week I'm taking that 5-day transit visa and crossing Central Asia overland, the budget way through this whole region. So subscribe and I'll see you on the other side of the border.